You're welcome back, and I can assure you that the discussion, even whilst we are on break, is even more heated than whilst we are on air. And there are so many of you who are sending me messages about why we're thinking that the minister's reference to Dr. Bawumia as irresponsible is not good enough.
But no, he's explaining.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We took it in our strike. So what is this?
Sorry. There are just too many people who feel that that is offensive, and particularly when it's coming from a colleague who is in that field.
No, but he compared them to drunkards.
Bank of Africa.
We took it in our strike.
Bank of Africa wishes to announce to you that they have both personal and corporate banking services that are tailored to meet both your corporate and personal banking needs. So all you need to do is to call them. They have branches all over the country. All you need to do is to call them 0244 338 226, 0244 338 226. Come to Bank of Africa and experience a range of personal and corporate products designed to make your banking problem free. They will partner you to reach your personal and business goals. And on Sundays, the footballers meet at the park, the Omutio guys at the joints, the church folk share the grace, and friends and family come over to visit. But now with MTN Sunday Special, your Sunday just got more special. For only 50 pesos, you can text and talk all day every Sunday. So who is it that you love talking to? Is it your mom, dad, sister, brother, or that special somebody? Just keep talking all day every Sunday with MTN Special, Sunday Special. Send yes to MTN short code 5050 to sign up to enjoy this product and to say welcome to the new world. MTN everywhere you go. Sasso spray kills mosquitoes, cockroaches, houseflies, ants, and other crawling and flying insects. Sasso mosquito coil is smokeless. Note that, smokeless. Sasso spray leaves a sweet lemon fragrance in your room till the next day. Sasso mosquito coil and spray is free from catarrh, headaches, and chest infections. Note that, it's also very important. Insist on Sasso mosquito coil wherever and whenever you visit a shop to buy an insecticide spray. Sasso mosquito coil and spray, the best on the market. Sasso, so fresh and so powerful. Now, I'll start this issue with Kweku. Kweku, how do you? I am at a loss really. How people in the NPP, including important figures, kick against an affirmative action so that they can populate, their women folk in parliament. They're only 16 and they're trying to preserve those seats for only the women so that men will not contest these women. That one, some of the people say, boy, they have gone to the place and they were demonstrating. Also, there's been, I think that one, they don't have a problem with it, that the women should pay less than the men will pay for their filing fees. And the gas thing, that certain gas seats should be reserved for only gas.
See, generally, I think it's the ambition of some potential male aspirants. I'm talking here of the one restricted to the female. Is the ambition that they've been nursing it over a period. These are male aspirants, potential aspirants. They are driving this whole credential against that particular directive. It is so clear. Because there's still competition. Other women are required to compete with the sitting women MPs. So this is where it's coming from. Of course, there's the other side of the coin, which I hadn't adverted my mind to till Thursday when Randy Abbey raised it, and Ben Epson also yesterday raised it with me, that in terms of timing, because some of these people had been nursing ambitions and building resources, spending here and there, suddenly you give a timetable for when the primaries should, nominations and things should, and then they see this, they get angry. So it drives them more. So there are two sides to the coin. But the general point is the ambition to be in parliament. So in the name of democracy, let's all compete. They ignore positive, the affirmative action, which is itself a very positive thing to do. Why are they not worried that women are being given a rebate? That's discrimination. Why are they not worried that people with disability are being given a rebate? That's discrimination. Okay? If it's the democracy in the full sense of the word, then no democracy at all, discrimination at all should be accommodated. But realism tells you...
The Supreme Court accommodates positive discrimination.
That's right. So really, and me as a
in the field of education.
Yeah, somebody like me with a CPP background, an Nkrumah's background, we pioneered affirmative action, even in parliament. You see, when it comes to affirmative action, it takes place in all sectors of the society. But when it comes to politics, because of the elective element and because of the ambition of the potential male aspirants, they don't want to allow it. For me, that's the bottom line there. As for the constituencies, the Ghana constituencies, again, I've been challenged by some of my colleagues, including Ben and the rest. I've been asking myself, the 275 members of parliament, have we checked their ethnic origins in terms of where they represent, the constituencies? How many of them do not hail from there? How many of them do not hail from the constituencies that they represent today, the 275? How many? Maybe few. So, well, perhaps unwritten and unannounced. But the mindset, the psychology of our politics is such that almost always you get people who are hailing from the constituency winning, or sometimes even competing at the primaries. Now the NPP appears to be addressing a certain challenge. Particularly since 2001, there has been a deliberate effort by some political parties and groups to tag them in a certain ethnocentric manner, to actually provoke some particular tribes against them, sometimes due to the reckless speeches and utterances by some of their own people. Let me concede. Yeah. But generally, that's not the way to build a nation. The NPP as a political party cannot be said to be an account party. It's everything, its history, its composition. That's the Fourth Republic. Shows it's not. But they have had that problem. And so here they are. If you recall, Professor Mills, may he rest in peace, was such a great friend, senior friend of mine, during his campaign, one time about the coastal region thing. If you recall, what do you think he was doing? What do you think he was doing? About telling the people out there that because he came from the coastal area, he could appreciate their plight better. It's a factor. It's out there. So the NPP is trying to address it. Maybe the timing, if they had begun earlier and had done maybe more consultative, more consultation, maybe we won't get the groundswell we are getting. But for me, in principle, I vote for it.
Mm. Do you have your eyes on any of the seats?
No, not really.
Not yet. Now, or
not yet. Let's say not yet.
Just hold on. It's not your turn yet.
Just be fair. What you come.
You are a member of Parliament, Mr. Rickett Hagan. You are a member of Parliament. How does one feel, like Kweku says, that they may have been planning? There are people within these constituencies held by women, who have been planning for God knows when, only to be told at this point that these seats are reserved for only women. How does it come to someone who is planning to contest a seat?
Yeah, thank you. I agree with most of the things that actually Kweku said. You know, affirmative action, which is obviously, supposed to be a positive discrimination against those who feel that are disenfranchised in society.
The late Professor Mills' dream is to have 40% of women in our body politic.
I think it's the dream of all of us to have more women, serving in government. But you have to be careful how you do it. Because if you say that, why do you bring affirmative action that will also disenfranchise another group of people, and then you need another affirmative...
That's what he ought to do.
You need to find a way to do it. As Kweku said, this one is about elections. If you want to do an affirmative action to get more women or to school or to get... That's a different thing. But when you are doing it at the expense of others, that becomes a bit
certainly must be at the expense of somebody. That's the thing.
That's when you look at it in an education context, that's different. To say that, okay, this university 30% of it is reserved, for women or whatever, that is fine. When it comes to politics, it becomes quite a different ball game. I am not against it. I am actually for, some kind of affirmative action to get more women into politics. But I think that we need to look at it very carefully so that in the end, you don't end up turning affirmative action, which is supposed to be positive discrimination, into something that becomes negative, and you have to work, towards correcting it. So, but the more mess NPP gets into, the better.
The more mess the NPP gets into, the better. Very, very interesting. Now, Dominic, the question that people are asking is, people have very interesting theories about why all of this. There are those who say that there are certain very key women that you are seeking to protect. And that is why you are doing this. It is not as if you really wanted to protect women. And even if that were the case, why don't you give them your safe seats?
Yes.
Oh, but that would be absurd. Would that also not be what against? Would that not also be what? No.
Okay. Gentlemen, that question is to Dominic.
I'm sorry.
That question is to Dominic.
Sorry.
Felix.
No, but that is unfair to the NPP. If you know how our system works, first of all, when a proposal comes, it goes to the steering committee. Steering committee is made up of the leader of parliament, then the leader of the Council of Elders, and the elected executives at the national level. They sit down, they look at it. If it's a good, they will recommend to the National Executive Committee. In this case, that's what happened. When the proposal came, they looked at it. And the National Executive went, I was there, and then they recommended to the National Executives. We took 3 hours to argue. Others were for it, others were not for it. But at the end, the generality said, look, it's a good proposal. They support the principle, like he said, in theory. And so let's go for it. Others said, well, let's wait, let's go outside and do some bit of work. Others of the view that, just even before you go, this thing will be out there. So if you are in for the principle of affirmative action, go for it. In any case, all over the world, it happens. Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Belgium, Croatia, Cyprus, Eritrea,
I'm not sure there's question
Hong
about
Kong.
There's question about affirmative action.
I'm just coming. Lebanon, England, that's the UK, Uganda, all of them. They reserve seats, some 30%, some 40%, some 20% for women. If you are a man, you cannot contest those seats. So it isn't a new thing that the NPP is doing.
But the NPP has even allowed some of its men to edge out women in some of your safe seats.
No, that I'm coming.
I remember Hilda Ado and...
yes, I know. So what I'm telling you is that what the NPP is seeking to do is not a new thing. The NPP created the women's ministry for a reason. They didn't create the men's ministry. They created the women's ministry under President Kufuor for a reason. President Kufuor signed the Maputo Convention that states that you need 30% by a certain time. President Mahama, the party, has actually signed with the UN just last week about having, by 2030, a certain number of women in parliament. We have 3 election cycles together. This election cycle, which ends in 2020, the next election cycle, which ends in 2024, and the last one, which ends in 2030. How do you expect to get there? Because, like he said, somebody must sacrifice his ambition. That is a fact. NPP is in opposition. The only way we have to be able to let people know that we have affirmative action are in 2 parts: party position and parliamentary position. We are not in government. If we are in government, that's a different matter. You can call ministers and DCs and government appointees and ambassadors and give them like what the NDC. We are not in government. We are not.
So what are you going to do now that it appears that this is actually firing? Because your members and those who are interested in those seats are against it, and they may work against you. And Pollstar Benefit says, and some people agree, that you may be signing a death warrant with this.
No, I don't believe what Ben Epstein says in this particular directive, so I will leave that one. I have my own problems with him. I'll leave that one. But I agree with what Kukubaku said. I agree with what Kukubaku said, that those actually driving this problem are the people who have been investing their time and energy and resources that they want to contest. But unfortunately for the party, we can only come out with such proposals when the NEC meets to consider the guidelines for an election, which is normally very close to the time of an election. We couldn't have talked of it last year unless it's a constitutional change like what the NDC did. You know, when the NDC brought the proposal that if you want to contest the elections, you must have been an officer of the party, that's you must have the position. The party went against it. But you know, in NDC, funny enough, the way they react to party directives is different from the way we react to party directives. We are so loud, we are out there challenging, we are doing press conference, we are doing demonstration. The NDC never did that. The party actually changed it and went and put it in the constitution. But you see, this is a NEC that is making guidelines for this particular election. There will be another NEC that will make guidelines for the next election, maybe 2018 or 2019. They may decide to look at things differently. But what the party says is that, look, we want to go for affirmative action. We want to show the women of this country that the NPP cares about them, and that if we are given an opportunity, we'll actually give more positions to women than what the NDC is doing. Because elections is about the minds and the soul. You know, it's about wits. It's about letting people know what you care about. And so the proposal was whether to accept this or not to accept this. The arguments that won the day at that time was that, look, the principle is good, let's adapt it, let's go out there and talk to our party people. But you see, others are also beginning to say, like what Kuku said, which is true, is that if you wake up one day and say, well, Ghana, we're going to leave the right-hand drive to the left-hand drive, there'll be accidents all over. And that's exactly what is causing the problem, not the principle itself. The principle is good. But the timing of the announcement seemed to give people the impression that, well, they want to protect individuals, like what you said. But it's not about individuals. If you take out the individual elements, if you don't personalize it, and you look at the proposal, you will go for it. But when you begin to look at who is in this seat, who is in that seat, who is in that seat, then you begin to have a problem with it. And I think that if the NPP wants to survive, all of us as a party, if we want to survive this affirmative action and let our women know that we care about them, go out there and use it as a campaign message. We should take out the women, the individual people out of it. After all, it will always begin with somebody at a particular time. If you decide that you won't even implement it and you will implement next year, it will begin with another person. And that person will also lose out. Look, in the NPP, for example, if you are not known within the party for 2 years, you don't qualify. Felix, for example, could come to NPP and pay more money and protect the youth and speak better. But if you are not known for 2 years, you don't qualify unless the National Executive Committee waives that clause. So when people say, why is it that you are disenfranchising us, you are doing this? It is a campaign strategy. It is about telling our women that we care about them. Why do you create women's ministry if you don't care about women?
The question I asked you was,
yes,
what are you going to do now that your members appear to be so agitated about this?
No, but you know very well that the party has called for a meeting on Monday. The party has called for a National Council meeting on Monday. I'm very sure that that matter will come up. For now, this is the next decision of the party. If the party so wishes, if the generality of the party who are more senior, the National Council members are more senior, and they think that there is a problem with it and there's a better way to go, the party will come on. You can trust NPP for that. But I want to just appeal to many of our people that, look, we should be very careful how we react to party directives.
But how about the gun issue too?
After the gun one, you see, that's my problem with our people. We don't take time to look beneath what is the issue. You have an opponent like the NDC who on daily basis, the NPP is against the guns, they don't support guns.
And you say that's only propaganda because it's not
and I will
true.
Tell you why it is propaganda.
So now you are confirming that
all
it's
the
true
12 seats
by your action.
No. All the 12 seats that the NPP listed since '92, apart from some one or two aberrations or one or two instances, have always consistently been gun candidates. From Adan, Sege, Tema West, Tema East, Lejokuku, right down to Ablekuma South, have always been gun candidates, NPP, for whatever reason. Meanwhile, in most instances, the party people who do the selection are mostly non-guns. But for whatever reason,
we are looking
they always
for
select
legislators.
guns.
We're looking for people who have the capacity to do a good work in Parliament.
No, but I'm saying that.
Why should we be interested in which
No,
tribe
you're not
we
getting
belong
me.
to?
I'm saying that for whatever reason, since '92, those constituencies, the NPP has always been selecting guns as the candidates. I don't know why, but it's always been so. Maybe this year, maybe the mistake the NPP has made is to come out public to say that, well, that is it. But they're all stating the obvious, because the obvious is that the NPP has been selecting gun candidates all along, whether it's by coincidence or it's by design, all along in these constituencies. But let me also tell you, the problem we have is that even though our candidates are guns, the guns don't vote for them. And we are telling the guns through this message that, look, this time we are putting your own person, they vote for us. Lejo Kuku, for example, who put up a gun with the person lost. Titus Global nearly lost to Anakan, but he's a gun. He won by 3 votes. So we are saying that, well, we are reminding you, the guns, that we have been putting the guns all along the coast, and we expect this time the guns to vote for the NPP. In other case, let me give you the last one.
Tell me, Felix, what you think. Does it make any difference that the party says this is not going to be it's not by a binding fiat, but it's only, you know, just for, as it were, not by compulsion? That's Nana Komia who says so.
That worsened.
Now you speak to that in a short while. Okay. Let's hear what the minority women chair has to say about this.
We had nothing to do with this decision. It was decision of NEC. 70% of the people at the meeting agreed that that was their position, and that was what they were doing to help with the affirmative action. But when this was communicated, there has been harsh reaction. And we wanted to call this meeting to explain our position. We are not afraid of competitions. I've been through 3 primaries and won my seat convincingly. Others have won their primaries in the past. So we are not afraid of competition. We are prepared to face anybody. We are women of substance, and we can fight and win our seats. But for the benefit of our children and the next generation, the women that will be wanting to come to Parliament, that's why we supported the decision by NEC. We are thanking them for what they've done. It's a bold decision. Affirmative action is not easy, but they've taken that decision, and we are saying bravo.
Okay, so Esther Dapa chairs the minority women in Parliament, and let's hear also from Esla Ekofo, Mrs. Esla Ekofo. She says that she denies the allegations that are being made. You know, fingers have been pointed at her place, Ablekuma West, is it? That she's just being protected, that she's one of the reasons this policy is being rolled out. Let's hear her.
When I am in the constituency every Monday, I have meetings with constituents every Monday at the office at the exhibition. How is it possible to have abandoned the constituency? This lady, I was with her about 2 months ago. Many of your stations covered it. When we visited the Akwebu Basic School, it was in all the, it was widely reported. She was there when we were interacting with the residents there. I have held public fora in all the electoral areas in the constituency. I've spoken on cholera, we've organized cleanup campaigns, I am in funerals, I am in churches, we have worked for the construction of 4 millennium schools in my constituency. The Glefe roads are being done because of the advocacy that we put in there. The Opetekwe roads are being done. I have been with the media several times to look at the, to monitor ongoing projects in my constituency. So if she really is the constituency women's organizer, and she is not aware of the immense work that her MP is doing in the constituency, even when she is physically present at some of these interactions, then it really does call into question.
Okay, so there she was rather responding to some other, you know, allegation, pedestrian, about her not being available at the place, and she says that there's too much evidence to show that she's there. Let's listen to this very final one, and then we'll move on.
A backlash against this policy, because understandably there will be, and it wasn't explained and articulated to the populace so that they would understand why the party was seeking to do what they were doing. I expected the communications wing of the party to do the public education on this so that we would all support it. Unfortunately, we, the sitting members of parliament, were told not to talk. because we are the potential beneficiaries of this. I objected to it and said that if we can't explain this policy, who can? If the party won't explain why they're doing this, who will? And so, because of the vacuum in terms of information flow and discussing of the rationale behind it, we have had this backlash. But the party must have had a reason for taking this stand.
I hear a few people say that the decision is not good, should be rescinded and all that, and I disagree with it. I think that you don't take a decision and just with the slightest opposition you feel, then you just go back and rescind it. This decision was heavy in 2008. Nothing was done. 2012, nothing was done. This is the platform for 2016. This is the era when we must do something. Affirmative action must be born. It's been conceived. And any plan of anybody to try and take it out is murder, and it will cost this party.
Okay, so that was Natoshi, who is also an NPP Member of Parliament in Tema. And a few messages. Akwesi in the USA says, anything meant to get more women and the biological challenged is commendable. The NPP plan is, however, ill-timed. They must rethink and prepare the minds of members towards the next elections. 2020. The women can be pushed into prominent positions when the NPP comes to power 2017 and prepare them for 2020 parliamentary elections. Potential male candidates can trade off their parliamentary ambitions for other positions. But why is it so difficult for them to do this, really? Lawrence, maybe they should be telling us what it is in Parliament that, you know, we don't know. Lawrence in Bojuasi says, MPP are not ready to come to power, else they wouldn't have introduced this affirmative action. The earlier they rescind their decision, the better. Spike in Ohio, USA says, NPP's so-called affirmative action is preposterous. The grounds should be fair and open to every Tom, Dick, and did you mean that? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry to contest.
That's an expression. It's a widely used expression.
Yeah, I see the way it's coming from. Yes.
Harris Musa says that just saying they can do not same as they can, but they can do better than what men can do. So why the need for affirmative action? Still trying to understand this policy. Thank you very much for your comments. Now, Felix, I was asking.
First of all, I agree entirely with the first texter on this particular subject. I think his submission is spot on. The only point of departure is that the MPP will come to power in 2017. But it is surprising to me that the MPP would want to place the execution of this principle of affirmative action, which nobody can dispute, above their electoral chances. Whereas nobody can say that an effort to introduce more women into parliament is a bad one. I think that they are threatening their own survival as a party by introducing it at the wrong time. Two.
Oh, I thought you would want to look at rather from those who are opposing it and threatening that if they go ahead with it, then they might not vote or
absolutely,
people might
but
vote
that is the essence of my submission.
Okay? Unless those are really selfish individuals.
No, you see, Samson, you cannot describe them as selfish.
Would it appeal to women groups?
They have legitimate ambition.
It will have no effect on
women. You see,
women.
they have legitimate ambition. And if the foundation for democracy is choice, that is allowing the people to, out of their own volition, elect leaders, you cannot restrict them. You cannot restrict the contest on the basis of one's gender. Again, all the 16... I
thought that whatever ambitions that you have within a party as a member, it should be subservient to that of the party.
But
it can be done.
Obviously, it is not a decision that has sat well with the rank and file. There has been massive opposition. So if you are taking a decision as a leadership of a party, and it is not resonating with your own rank and file, so that you are having this backlash that is threatening your political survival and chances of winning an election. Now, what is the point?
You heard Natoshi say that this ought to have been introduced in 2008. It didn't work. 2012, it didn't work. So when at
well, it does appear that whatever did not make it work previously still exists.
When is good time?
You see, I'm coming to a point. Now, all these 16 sitting women in parliament won free and fair contest organized at the constituency level.
Men.
They beat men. They have demonstrated the capacity to hold
it's not
their
about
own.
protecting them.
You see, no, but I'm coming to that point. The reason why people are saying that this has been designed to protect a few female allies of Nana Akufo-Addo.
That's crude.
Is that it's not crude? It's not crude.
That's crudity of the highest order.
Something.
That shouldn't come from you.
Something.
I don't think you believe it.
No.
You don't believe it.
No, you cannot dismiss.
It's crudity of the highest order.
The women themselves have
You
had
don't
cause.
like it when he does it.
I'm
You see,
sorry.
the persons involved themselves have had cause to comment on the matter. So it is not something that you can dismiss. It is the reason why there is agitation. So if you choose to dismiss it, you are doing it at your own peril. I'm saying that these are 16 women who have in the past demonstrated a capacity to beat any man who has contested them. They have come to Parliament. If you want to introduce affirmative action, you want to introduce more women. You want to introduce more women into Parliament. Why not give those women safe passage?
But that's discriminatory as well.
But that's my point.
That's discriminatory too.
No. But
because you would have excluded men.
No. I'm saying that
from
if you
contesting them in the same
to give credence to affirmative action, make it automatic
that
for women to go to Parliament by giving them seats that they will win anyway.
And that's not undemocratic.
It is not democratic.
Because the men can argue.
You are less likely to face the resistance that you are facing because you are putting this.
So the principle is clear.
No, you are putting this directive into practice in marginal seats, areas where you have fierce competition.
Which of the seats of the 16 seats? How many of them are marginal?
It's not a foregone conclusion.
Which one? Which ones are marginal?
Esla herself is having stiff competition from her own executive. So all is not well in that constituency. You are going to compound it by adding this directive, which clearly is not sitting well with them. So if I were you, I would review it. Nobody can argue against the principle, but clearly, the manner in which you have introduced it has raised eyebrows. Now let me move to the Ghana aspect of this. Again, Kweku let the cat out of the bag. I don't know to what extent Kweku has an ear in the NPP leadership.
No,
but if this, of course, it is legitimate.
Yeah.
If this, and Dominic alluded to it in his submission as well, if this guns-only restriction in coastal areas has been designed to forestall or parry criticisms of the NPP
propaganda
as dominated, then I think there is a knee-jerk reaction. You see, if people perceive the NPP as an account party, it is not on account of not presenting Ghana candidates in coastal areas. It is on account of their own actions and inactions, utterances, and posturing towards certain perceived minority ethnic groups or tribes. If you have a situation where the party does not clamp down hard on persons who disrespect through their utterances and conduct people of Ghana extraction, you cannot just present a Ghana at a coastal consensus and expect to win. Again, Dominic himself in his analysis, and if you listen to the infamous Osafo Mafu tape, you will hear him say that at a place like Lejukuku, the NPP presented Dr. Nakwale, if I'm not mistaken, who is a medical professional. The NDC presented Madam Benito Kitibia, who is not a Ghana. She's a Voltarian.
Actually, she also faced within the NDC.
But we did not allow that to hold sway because we did not believe that is the basis on which we give the people choice. The people of Lejukuku assessed the two women. They did not consider where Dr. Nakwale was coming from. They felt that Benita was the person best suited to represent their interest because I believe that they are discerning. And in analyzing who should represent them,
what are you speaking? What I'm saying for against that?
I'm against that. Also. I'm against that policy. Honestly.
So that you can have the opportunity to continue to accuse them of being an.
It is not. I'm saying that the answer to that.
There's no gun within the party
in the greater Accra region
that can be president.
In the greater Accra region, the 14 seats that the NPP has, 9 out of those 14 seats are held by
But Accra is different. They say coastal constituencies.
I'm also saying that the NPP has presented guns at elections who have lost. Out of they presented a gun.
It doesn't change the principle.
At various places, they presented guns who lost. So the problem is not the extraction, the ethnic extraction or origin of the candidate.
So this is their choice. Well, this is their choice.
But it is a choice that is likely to lead to another defeat.
Then you should be happy.
Yes, which is what you like. No, hold on. I'll come to you. I'll end with you. This one from Mohammed Pano in Savligu says, kudos to Honorable Nitowo for your brilliant clarification of the affirmative action by the NPP. We are proud of you, of course, your members, your constituents. Did I hear Savlugu? Okay, Bimbila. Okay. This one said, did I hear Nitimu say that affirmative action is a campaign strategy? Then I'm sorry to tell him that we have lost the election in advance. Come
I said
to
it could
Takwa
be used
and
during elections. That's
and
what I
see
said.
how divided the party is. Kweku Entry says, come to think of it, you hardly feature women on Newsfile. It is an affirmative. is it an affirmative?
But there was a program that
action
featured only women.
to keep women out of important national discourse? Well, I can tell you this, we do our very best. Getting women on the show is the most difficult production work my men do, but I try. And when we do get them, we bring them on the show. In fact, there have been a day we had to,
all women. I remember that.
We planned an all-women show. Then
you nearly got them.
Then on a Friday evening, we had to reassemble men. We had to reassemble men to come to do the show. I'm not saying the women are not available. They know it themselves. And this one from Ni Koklo in Tema. He says, ask Dominic Nitiwu whether he is prepared to sacrifice his seat for affirmative action. And then Obing in Kumasi says, tell Kweku Bako that there were no free elections in the CPP era.
Does he know what he's talking about?
Should not burn their votes. Parties in opposition
Does he know what he's
should not
talking
burn
about?
their votes. And this one from Afi. Afi says that the NDC has over the years been dwindling in the number of female MPs. What are they doing about it? Afi is concerned that you should be supporting this.
No, we are not against
Something.
Yes. I want to end with you. Let me hear Kweku. 1 minute.
And I have to be very brutally frank. With the exception of the 1964 or 65 elections, rather, which I consider with the benefit of hindsight as having been a selection rather than election. Now let him define CPP era. 1960, there was an election.
51, 54.
That's why I say you should define it. 51, 54, 56. CPP won competitive elections in this country. 1960, we won. Okay, so let the gentleman define what he means by CPP era. But as I concede, 65 elections, in my candid opinion, should be characterized as selection rather than election.
Once again, the Bank of Africa now lines to call 0244338226. Bank of Africa. They are strong as a group and close as a partner, and you need a banking service that you will smile at and be happy that you are giving the best of services. There is also the MTN Sunday special that allows you to talk all day with that very special person. All you need to do is to send yes, the word yes, to MTN short code 5050 to sign up and say welcome to the new world. And MTN everywhere you go. Sasso mosquito spray is fresh and it is powerful. The mosquito coil is smokeless and also leaves a very good fragrance in your room when you use it. Now, Dominic, the Polafoko, the party's chairman, I heard him this morning on Joy News saying that, look, this was just a proposal and somebody leaked it out.
No,
that appears not to be correct.
I thought it was
I think the communique was from the General Secretary.
So
I know what happened, but
I was surprised at that.
For the sake of the party, I'm not able to tell you what happened in the meeting. And I don't think anybody going out there talking about what happened in the meeting is actually doing anybody any good. It's a collective decision. Once NEC, the steering committee brought it to NEC, is their decision, and once that comes to the steering committee, you defend it until the party changes. The party, it's possible, can change that decision on Monday. But I'm saying that electorally, it's a good decision for the party. And let nobody take it away. In fact, for the GAN 1-2, I expect the GAN youth, for example, to come out congratulating the NPP and blowing
because that is not what
to the no. From their history, from their history, you have always seen that they took on President Kufuor.
They protested.
Felix, sorry.
They took on President Kufuor when the alleged Yusuf Mabote came out. They took on when the alleged they took on. I expect this one they should come out and praise the NPP and salute the NPP. After all, if the NDC does the same...
ICO2 has saluted the MPP.
No, ICO2 is MPP, everybody knows. I'm saying that after all, if the NDC does the same, it means we are guaranteed some 12 guns immediately without even doing anything. So I expect them, I'm listening to them. Then the women groups, while there, Abantu for Women, I'm expecting them to salute and tell the women of Ghana to vote the NPP. For other parties to be forced to copy the NPP. I expect it.
If they salute
Okay,
I expect it.
Okay,
So
Felix,
it's a good political tool. We should go ahead.
Give me more.
No, you are not. No, you are not. I know how that strategy works. You know? Okay, all right. So this is where we actually draw the curtains on the show, and my outfit, as always, is provided by Latida. They have the very best in African print for you, and so as always, you see their telephone numbers on the screen on the bar line there. So write it down and call Latida, and they will attend to you. They'll come to wherever you are, take your measurement, and sew it for you without any extra cost, really. And my guests have been Abdul Malik Kweku Bako Jr., Editor-in-Chief of the New Crusading Guide
No
newspaper.
junior when it's Abdul Malik.
There's no junior when it's Abdul Malik. Okay. Abdul Malik
Junior.
Kweku Bako.
He's now his own man.
All right. Right. There's a junior at home, I know. Who is the editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide and who is our regular panelist. Always, you can trust him with his documents. And today, he brought out yet another document that puts to, sleep
It's a document I'm going
some
to
of the talk that is going on. And there are comments on social media saying I should have allowed him after that to have done some mischief. Felix Kwachiofosu is Deputy Minister of Communications. Dominic Nitiwu is Deputy Minority Leader in Parliament and is Member of Parliament for the Bimbilla constituency. Kweku Ricketts-Hagan is Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. Very recently, he was with the Finance Ministry, and he is also MP for Cape Coast South. Their seats are not up for you, the women in those places.
No, women can so
it's safe for them. No, that's not.
But you know, we have only 11% women in Parliament.
Have a good afternoon. Then you
Only
them same seats.
The whole of Ghana, only 11% women.
It will be, but at least he gives
Out of 275, they have only 11%.
They are going to
I hear you. Okay,
What NPP women?